Okay, joining us now is the chief weather forecaster for our New York station WCBS, Lonnie Quinn. He's been tracking the storm for us all week. Lonnie, a lot of people are making a big deal about the fact that we thought Miami might be in the crosshairs, and it really looks like this storm sort of made a turn and is heading up the West Coast. Is that a big problem because people weren't expecting that?
Well, if it is, then somebody got the wrong word out. And what I mean by that is it has been preached by the National Hurricane Center for as long as I can remember. I worked there for about 5 years back. I guess it would have been up until 2007. They constantly say, do not follow just the skinny red line. You've got to pay attention to the entire cone. So for this to have made this big shift that people are talking about, the west coast of Florida was never not in the cone at any point in time. It was. So, okay, sure, if you want to play the skinny red line game, yeah, it was at one point, focused more towards the east coast of Florida, and now it's on the west coast of Florida. Do you guys realize the difference that you're talking about here is maybe 100 miles or so, right? That is a burp for Mother Nature. This is nothing. And the National Hurricane Center, I feel like they were spot on with this. Okay, again, maybe there was talk about it being more of an East Coast storm versus a West Coast storm. It's just not that wide of a peninsula. Listen.
No, you're right. We had been saying all week, and we've been saying all week here at CBSN, that just the diameter of this storm meant that the entire peninsula was going to be affected. Governor Rick Scott said a couple of days ago he was concerned that it would take sort of more of a northwestward path, and that's what we're seeing. And I guess the reason I bring it up is, a lot of people were evacuating from Miami, either heading north or perhaps heading west. And, how big of a concern is that with storm surge, particularly given that so much of that coastline is just about 10 feet or less above sea level?
Listen, I think it's a very fair question. I didn't mean to, I hope I didn't react like it wasn't a fair question, because it is a fair question. I just hope maybe this is a good reminder that, hey, you gotta look at the whole cone. If you're in that cone, that's it. There are TV stations in this country that don't even put the skinny red line on, because they say, look, everyone's got to be prepared for this. Okay, what happened? All right, a front came through, a high-pressure weekend. You just need to know it made that turn to the north a little later than we had anticipated. So now, yep, it's on the west coast of Florida. So you're asking me about storm surge, and a really interesting situation with storm surge, because look at the current radar, all right? Storm surge has to deal with the wind pushing the water onshore. So right now, as we speak, with the heaviest activity being around the Florida Keys, the biggest storm surge is being felt in places like Key Largo, north on the East Coast. It's the East Coast now. We keep saying, hey, it's the southwest portion of the state that's going to get the real big stuff. In order for that to happen, Vlad, that eye has got to go north of the places that are going to be receiving the big storm surge. So once you take that eye and just imagine you put it, just in your mind, put it up around Tampa. Now with that same rotation around the eye, now it's the south side of the storm that's going to be pushing water onshore for places like Northport, Naples, Fort Myers, Marco Island. The south portion of the storm, not typically the strongest portion of the storm. However, in this situation, since the storm is so big, it's the duration. All right, it's the duration for how long that onshore flow is going to continue to pound those people. Now, on the east side of the state, they're catching their storm surge right now. What's ironic about that is Mother Nature is pushing that water into the bays around Biscayne Bay and Miami Beach, right? Well, as that eye then goes north of Miami Beach, now Mother Nature is going to push it out, right? But on the west coast, they're never going to get that chance to have it pushed out by the big storm, because the last elements of the storm will be pushing the water inland. So all you have at that point in time, if you're in places like Marco Island, you got to wait for the tides to take it out.
Chief weathercaster of WCBS, Lonnie Quinn, thank you, my friend.
Thanks,
we'll be talking to you throughout the course of the day.